Hey YouTubers, what you're looking at there is a native tank, believe it or not, the very much overgrown native tank. It's actually doing pretty decent. Go figure, I spent all kinds of time and money on the big 55 gallon to get everything growing and looking beautiful. This one I kind of throw the trimmings and the plantings that came out of the 55. And this one ends up being almost as pretty. What we got here is a small, this is what's one of the baby Amazon swords that came out, which is doing a lot better now. I'm going to pull that one leaf off. In the back is still some water wisteria, water sprite. We got some pennywort that came out of the main tank there. We've got some Pygmy chain sword in the front here, which badly need of a trim. Matter of fact, look at that little guy right there. He goes up and up and up. A little bit of Java moss over here in the corner. Some more water sprite back there. I think there's a little sprig of Rotalla back there. You see there is some DIY CO2. This is where the DIY CO2 ended up. It's going right now. A little bit of Ludwigia Cuba in the back there. Those are also trimmings. And I believe, yeah, there's a bunch of Java moss back here in the corner. There's the fish. There he is. I've only seen him recently. I'm wondering if maybe the other one died. Really probably should get in here and take a look. See if there's a dead fish in there somewhere. I'm not sure. Anyways, and a buttload of red root floaters. This is where all the red root floaters ended up. I pretty much got rid of them on the 55. They were cutting out the light too much and causing too much problems with the flow that I have in there, bunching up and getting caught up in the filters and everything. So this is where they live now, doing well. But on this tank I have the light that came with it, which is a little 15-inch, and it has a I think it's a Zoomed 55 or 5000K bulb in it, which I don't know if any of you have tried, but trying to find a T8, 15-inch T8 bulb other than online is a near impossibility. I've tried Home Depot and Lowe's locally, and neither one of them carry the 15-inch T8 bulbs anymore, unfortunately. Still hopeful though. And behind it is one of the 24-inch lights that came with my 55 gallon originally, which has an 18-inch tube in it, and that's a 6500K, which is new. I just bought it recently. And on the back we have an old Aqua Clear, I think it's the 150 if I remember correctly. And that's the only filter going on it. And then of course here's the line coming in for the CO2, which is down there. Little 2-liter bottle for the CO2. Fertilizer is what I was using for the 55 gallon, which is the Florin Multi, and it's kind of an all-in-one. It's got iron and iodine in it. It's made by Brightwell Aquatics. I recommend that if you've got simple plants, and well, you can see what it does for this one. It's definitely a good fertilizer. But there she sits. I will be doing a trimming on her soon. Okay, and I thought I'd do a little catch-up over here on the 55. I had a couple of emails come in, people requesting that I kind of go through and name off what we got in here. So I made myself a list this time so I wouldn't be going at any rate, starting over here in the back corner, which is the, as you face it, the right hand back corner behind the heater here, is the Rotalla Indica. It is starting to fill out. I planted a bunch more as I trimmed it up and topped it. So once this stuff starts to take off, it'll get rolling. This guy right here, which is at the right edge, is a, to be honest with you, it's a crypt, but I'm not sure exactly which crypt. This was grown from one of those, you buy 3 bulbs and it just says Cryptocorynes on it. And she grew out. All of this right here is Pygmy chainsword. Pygmy chainsword, where if you look at it you can see some blackbeard algae mixed in with it. Right over here is a bronze crypt. Not sure of the exact professional or the scientific name for that, but that's what's there. These right here is Ludwigia Cuba is the common name for it. This and this, the Rotalla and the Ludwigia and the chainsword and the crypts so far are amazingly very easily grown plants. You do want to have a little bit higher light for the Cuba right here. The Rotalla, it can stand lower light, so if you have a lower light tank, 2 watts and below, it will grow in it. And I think the Cuba will handle 2 watts and below, but you're not going to get the yellows and the reds on the top. It's going to be a kind of a darker green all the way through. The Crypt Bronze will also handle lower light. Now we get over here, and we have the Glossostigma. What's left of the Glossostigma? What this little sucker hasn't made lunch of. He's been chewing on everything like that, but that's what's left of it. That definitely needs higher light, and I would recommend CO2 if you want to grow it. I don't think I'm going to be able to handle it unless I get rid of that fish, because he just looks at it as like a free salad bar there for him. Back behind it is the Blyxa Japonica, and that also is a higher light. Would recommend CO2. You might be able to get away with it without CO2, but if you want it to look green and grow lush, it's just coming back from the planting. I just planted it a couple weeks ago, kind of died off, and now it's coming back. It will even look better in a matter of weeks. Yeah, I would recommend the higher light, 2.5 to 3 plus watts per gallon. And I'm not sure what that. I know everybody's changing over to par with the LEDs and stuff like that, but you want the higher light, whatever that translates to in par. Back behind it is the Limnophila Aquatica. This feathery looking stuff. That is definitely a highlight plant. Will not do well if even survive in lower light. So if you have less than 2.5 watts per gallon or whatever par that transforms to or whatever, don't even bother with it. It's going to be scraggly looking, and even if it survives, and probably won't even survive. Next to it, right here, which is also a lot like the Cuba, is the Limnophila Aromatica. And it is also a highlight. I would say 2.5, more like 3 watts plus per gallon. And once again, if you get down to the 2.5 watts or down to 2 watts, it may still grow, but you're going to have green leaves. None of the yellows and reds and stuff you see there. Right next to it, right there, is blue Hygro. As to why it got its name as blue Hygro, I'm not sure. When I initially got this, it actually did have more of a blue hue to the leaves. Wasn't growing too well for a while there. And I finally got some root tabs, stuck them down in next to it, and its partner over here, which is the Ammania gracilis, and they seem to be coming around again. But that's your blue Hygro. See if I can get a side shot of it there. Yeah, the blue Hygro. And since we already mentioned this, there is the Ammania gracilis, which the blue Hygro and the Ammania gracilis are a little more forgiving. You could probably go 2 watts, you know, medium light, even into the upper ends of the lower light spectrum, and they would probably still do okay as long as you fertilize them and they do get some direct light. The Ammania gracilis is kind of competing with the sword over here, which I have to constantly prune back, pull leaves off of, because it shades it out a lot. Over here, which you know, I don't know if that's another plant or if that's just shoots coming off of this plant right here. I think it's shoots coming off of this plant, but it may be a whole other plant. Obviously another Tiger Lotus, and I also have a Tiger Lotus over here coming up. So Tiger Lotus, low light plant. You can run it in most conditions as long as you got decent lighting. I don't consider low light to be incandescent bulbs. I consider them to be at least fluorescent, whether it's compact or not. But it's a very forgiving plant, and it will always be red and beautiful and grow like crazy. Right behind it, you can see right in there, right there, is stargrass, and that's really starting to take off. I had it kind of tucked in over here when it was getting too shaded out, so I brought it over and stuck it into an area where it could get a little more light, and it's loving that area. So we got a little stargrass in there. Right here is the Anubias Nana, and he is growing on a log that runs from here over to here, which is also covered with Java moss. So we got the Anubias Nana there, and mixed in with the Anubias Nana, if you can see some of those narrower leaves that are coming up that are light, is a Anubias lanceolata, whatever. I know I probably butchered that name, even though it's a common name, but oh well. It's being kind of smothered out by the Nana, as a matter of fact. I'm probably going to end up having to break him loose from this log, and he'll probably end up over in the 20. Over here, my beautiful pleco doing his thing, showing off for the camera. This is Crypt Parva, and there's another kind of crypt mixed in with that with the bigger leaves. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Sorry, wish I could tell you, but if anybody does know, please leave it in the comments below. But the rest of it is a Parv. Over here we have a Java fern Windelov. The reason it's called Windelov, if you look at those leaves right in there, kind of forked out looking leaves or whatever, that's what's different. Your regular Java fern is just the long narrow leaves like that, but it also puts out these other kind of forked looking leaves. Back left hand corner, well, that's pretty obvious, goes without saying, good old Amazon sword, one of the original plants in the tank. Another log that the Java fern is connected to, with a lot of Java moss on it. And at the very top, you look over there, is a Anubias Nana Petite growing over there. And then last but not least, over here, very much trimmed down, is some pennywort. And pennywort, I would imagine in a lot of states, is considered an invasive plant because this stuff grows like crazy. You could grow this in the back of a toilet. So, all in all, zooming out, oh, and of course the giant Tiger Lotus, which is the original plant. to give you an overall look on the tank. And there she goes. So I hope you all got something out of this, enjoyed the video, and I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and we'll see you soon.